Flamingos are not born pink. They are actually born with gray feathers. Their vibrant pink or orange color comes entirely from their diet. They eat a lot of brine shrimp and blue-green algae, which are loaded with natural chemicals called carotenoids. As the flamingo digests its food, these pigments are absorbed into its fat and eventually deposited into its growing feathers. If a flamingo stops eating these specific foods, its feathers will eventually fade back to a dull white or gray color during its next molting cycle. The invention of the microwave. The microwave oven was invented completely by accident by an engineer named Percy Spencer. He was working on building magnetrons, which are vacuum tubes used in radar systems during World War II. One day, while standing near a working magnetron, he noticed that a chocolate bar in his pocket had completely melted, even though he didn't feel any heat. Curious, he tried placing unpopped popcorn kernels near the device, and they immediately began to pop. He realized that the invisible waves were vibrating the water molecules inside the food, creating heat, and the first microwave oven was born shortly after. The length of a giraffe tongue. Giraffes are the tallest land animals, and they have developed very specialized tools to help them eat leaves from the tops of thorny acacia trees. A giraffe's tongue can be up to 21 inches long, which is about the length of a standard keyboard. The tongue is also very dark, usually a mix of purple, blue, or black. Scientists believe this dark color acts as a natural sunscreen, protecting the tongue from getting sunburned while the giraffe spends all day reaching out into the hot African sun to grab food. The ancient age of sea turtles. Sea turtles are truly ancient creatures that have been on Earth for a very long time. The earliest fossil records of sea turtles date back about 110 million years. This means that sea turtles were swimming in the oceans and crawling onto beaches to lay their eggs at the same time that the Tyrannosaurus rex was walking the land. While many other species from that era went extinct, sea turtles have remained relatively unchanged in their design, proving that their shell and lifestyle are incredibly successful for survival. The memory of an elephant. The phrase "an elephant never forgets" is actually backed up by science. Elephants have the largest brain of any land animal, and their temporal lobe, which is the part of the brain associated with memory, is highly developed. They can remember the locations of water holes and food sources across hundreds of miles of savanna, even if they haven't visited them in decades. They also recognize individual members of their herd and even humans they met years prior. This long-term memory is crucial for their survival, as the older matriarchs lead the group to safety during droughts based on their memories of the past. The human sense of smell and rain. Most people love the smell of the air right after it starts to rain. This earthy scent is called petrichor. Humans are incredibly sensitive to one of the main chemicals that creates this smell, which is called geosmin. Our noses are so well tuned to this scent that we can detect it at a concentration of just 5 parts per trillion. To put that in perspective, we are better at smelling rain than a shark is at smelling a drop of blood in the ocean. Evolutionarily, this likely helped our ancestors find water sources or track storm patterns for survival. The deepest living fish. The Mariana snailfish holds the record for the deepest living fish ever discovered. It lives in the Mariana Trench at a depth of about 26,000 feet below the surface. At this depth, the pressure of the water is equal to an elephant standing on your thumb. Most animals will be crushed instantly, but the snailfish has a soft, jelly-like body and lacks any air-filled spaces like a swim bladder. Its bones are made of flexible cartilage rather than hard bone, and its cells have special proteins that keep them from collapsing under the massive weight of the ocean. The fact that trees can explode. During an intense wildfire, trees can actually explode like bombs. This happens because the extreme heat causes the sap and moisture inside the tree to turn into steam very quickly. Since the steam has nowhere to go, the pressure builds up until the wood can no longer hold it, causing the trunk to burst apart. Additionally, some trees, like eucalyptus, contain highly flammable oils. When these oils get hot enough, they turn into a gas that can ignite and cause the entire crown of the tree to erupt in a fireball, which helps the fire spread rapidly across the forest. The power of a human sneeze. When you sneeze, your body is performing a very high-speed cleanup of your respiratory system. The pressure that builds up in your chest before a sneeze is immense. When the air is finally released, it can travel at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. This force is so strong that it is physically impossible to keep your eyes open during a sneeze. Your brain sends a reflex signal to your eyelids to shut tight, which helps protect the delicate blood vessels in your eyes from the sudden burst of internal pressure. The floating eye of the giant squid. The giant squid lives in the dark, crushing depths of the ocean, and it has evolved the largest eyes of any living creature to survive there. Each eye can be as large as a standard dinner plate or a soccer ball. These massive eyes are designed to pick up the tiniest amounts of light, specifically the bioluminescent glow given off by tiny organisms when they're disturbed by a swimming sperm whale. By detecting these faint flashes of light, the squid can see the silhouette of its only major predator from a long distance away in the pitch-black water, giving it a chance to swim to safety. The Earth's inner core is growing. At the very center of our planet is a solid ball of iron and nickel called the inner core, which is about as hot as the surface of the sun. Even though it is incredibly hot, the core is solid because the pressure of the entire planet pressing down on it is so high. Interestingly, the inner core is slowly growing larger every year. As the Earth gradually cools down, some of the liquid iron from the outer core freezes and turns into solid crystals that settle onto the inner core. It grows at a rate of about 1 millimeter per year, which is roughly the thickness of a paperclip. The wood frog, found in North America, has a survival strategy that seems like science fiction. During the winter, these frogs actually freeze solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and up to 70% of the water in their bodies turns to ice. To keep their cells from bursting, the frogs flood their blood with high concentrations of glucose, which acts as a natural antifreeze. When the weather warms up in the spring, the frog thaws out from the inside out. Its heart starts beating again, and within a few hours, it hops away as if it hadn't been an ice cube all winter. The oldest living thing on Earth. While Pando is the heaviest organism, the oldest individual living thing is widely considered to be a Great Basin bristlecone pine tree named Methuselah, located in the White Mountains of California. This tree is over 4,850 years old. To put that in perspective, this tree was already growing when the ancient Egyptians were building the Great Pyramids. These trees survive for so long because they grow in very harsh, dry conditions where few other plants can live. Their wood is extremely dense and full of resin, which makes them nearly immune to rot, insects, and disease. The way pigeons see the world. Pigeons are often called rats with wings, but they have vision that is far superior to humans. While we see the world in 3 primary colors, red, blue, and green, pigeons are pentachromats, meaning they have 5 types of color receptors. They can see ultraviolet light in a much wider range of hues than we can imagine. Pigeons are also able to see tiny details at great distances and can detect the Earth's magnetic field with their eyes, which helps them navigate across hundreds of miles to find their way home with perfect accuracy. The sound of the blue whale. The blue whale is not just the largest animal, but also one of the loudest. A blue whale's call can reach 188 decibels, which is much louder than a jet engine at takeoff. These low-frequency sounds are so powerful that they can travel through the ocean for hundreds or even thousands of miles. Scientists believe that whales use these songs to communicate with each other across entire ocean basins. If the ocean were quiet and there were no ship noise, a blue whale in the Atlantic could theoretically be heard by another whale near the coast of Africa. Seahorses are some of the only creatures in the world where the male becomes pregnant and gives birth. During mating, the female seahorse deposits her eggs into a specialized pouch on the male's stomach. The male then fertilizes the eggs and carries them for several weeks, providing them with oxygen and nutrients through his own body. When the babies are ready, the male goes through contractions and breathes them out into the water. A single male can give birth to up to 2,000 tiny seahorses at one time. The way trees help each other. Trees in a forest are not just competing for sunlight. They are actually part of a cooperative community. Through the underground network of fungi mentioned earlier, older and larger trees, often called mother trees, send extra sugar and nutrients to smaller saplings that are struggling in the shade. If a tree is dying, it will often dump its remaining nutrients into the network to be used by its neighbors. This ensures the health of the entire forest, as a dense canopy of trees helps protect the group from wind and keeps the soil moist. The weight of a cloud. Even though clouds look as light as air, a medium-sized cumulus cloud can weigh about 1.1 million pounds. This weight comes from the billions of tiny water droplets and ice crystals that make up the cloud. The reason it doesn't fall out of the sky is that the weight is spread out over a very large space, and the droplets are so small that the upward force of warm air is enough to keep them suspended. However, when those droplets bump into each other and get too heavy for the air to hold up, they fall to the ground as rain. The only metal that is liquid at room temperature. Mercury is a very strange element because it is a metal, yet it stays in a liquid state at normal room temperatures. It is incredibly dense. A gallon of mercury weighs about 113 pounds, which is more than 13 times the weight of a gallon of water. Because it is so dense, heavy objects like iron bolts or even a cannonball will float on top of a pool of mercury like a cork in water. While it looks fascinating, mercury is highly toxic and can be absorbed through the skin or inhaled as a gas, which is why it is no longer used in common household thermometers. The way your skin recycles itself. Your skin is the largest organ in your body, and it is constantly renewing itself to keep you protected. Every minute, your body sheds about 30,000 to 40,000 dead skin cells. Over the course of a single year, you will lose about 8 pounds of skin. In fact, most of the dust you see floating in a sunbeam or settled on your furniture is actually made of dead human skin cells. It takes about 1 month for a new skin cell to be created at the bottom layer, travel to the surface, and eventually flake off. The high blood pressure of giraffes. Because a giraffe's head is so far away from its heart, it has to have a very powerful circulatory system to pump blood all the way up its long neck. A giraffe's heart is about 2 feet long and weighs 25 pounds. To get blood to the brain, the heart creates a blood pressure that is 2 to 3 times higher than a healthy human's. To prevent this high pressure from damaging the giraffe's brain when it lowers its head to drink, it has a specialized sponge of blood vessels and one-way valves that slow down the flow of blood and prevent a massive head rush. The power of a single leaf. Plants are the only living things that can create their own food out of thin air and sunlight through photosynthesis. Inside every leaf are tiny structures called chloroplasts. These act like tiny solar panels, capturing energy from the sun and using it to turn water and carbon dioxide into sugar. This process is the foundation of almost all life on Earth. Without plants performing this magic trick, there would be no food for animals to eat and no oxygen for us to breathe, as oxygen is actually a waste product that plants release into the air for us. Crocodiles have the most acidic stomach of any vertebrate on the planet. Their digestive system is so powerful that it can dissolve entire animals, including bones, horns, and even turtle shells. They have a unique heart valve that allows them to redirect oxygen-poor blood to their stomach. This blood is rich in carbon dioxide, which the stomach uses to produce massive amounts of gastric acid. This allows them to eat huge meals and digest them over several weeks. It also means they can eat rotting meat that would be fatal to other animals, as their intense stomach acid kills off almost all harmful bacteria. The living clock of the cicada. Certain species of cicadas, known as periodical cicadas, live underground for exactly 13 or 17 years before emerging all at once. They spend over a decade in the dark, sucking sap from tree roots. Scientists believe they use prime numbers for their life cycles to stay out of sync with the boom-in white cycles of predators. By emerging in the millions all at the same time, they overwhelm predators like birds and squirrels, ensuring that even if many are eaten, enough will survive to lay eggs and start the cycle over again. They don't have a calendar, but they can count the passing of years by sensing the changes in the fluid of the tree roots as the trees go through their seasonal cycles. The natural armor of the pangolin. The pangolin is the only mammal in the world that is covered in hard, overlapping scales made of keratin, which is the same material as your fingernails. When threatened, the pangolin rolls into a tight, near-impenetrable ball, tucking its soft belly inside. These scales are so tough that even a lion or a tiger cannot bite through them. In addition to their physical armor, pangolins can also release a stinky chemical from glands near their tail, similar to a skunk, to discourage predators from trying to unroll them.